Please welcome Vice President, Engineering, Storage, Automation, Streaming, and Management, AWS, Bill Vass.
Hey everyone, hope you're all having a great reInvent. It's great to be back together here in person, and thanks for all you coming and those who are on streaming today. There's certainly a lot of people out there watching and streaming as well. We're going to be talking about cloud operations today, what it takes to really run something at AWS scale, since a lot of our customers are starting to run at AWS scale. You know, it doesn't matter how great the features are if it isn't secure, doesn't operate well, isn't highly available, and doesn't scale, none of the features matter. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, the things and the tools that are necessary to do that. We have some great presentations from Nandini on our team who does our observation systems, Josh, who will be coming up from our partner Rackspace, Javad, who's going to be working on talking about what Goldman Sachs is doing, and of course Robert from Expedia. So let's get started. We've got a lot of slides to cover and a lot to talk about today. As you see, a lot of customers are converging onto the cloud, all different size companies today, and they're doing it because there's a proven cost savings over 5 years of around 51%. You've got about 62% more efficiency for your staff. They don't have to wait for a server to be provisioned. They can click a button and get a server immediately. You get a lot of operational resilience, on average about a 57% decrease in downtime. So that's really important to all of our customers. The most important reason, though, is business agility. Rather than picking the next best raised floor for your data center, you're focused your time on what's the next best thing to accelerate your business, and you've got many tools on the cloud to quickly do that. And more, as you saw from Peter's presentation today, our customers are interested in the carbon savings, the huge savings as you move to the cloud because of the centralized infrastructure that's shared. Okay, and so we're spending the time to talk about cloud ops just because scale is getting to be so large. Here at Amazon, we've got millions and millions of companies running on AWS today, and they touch billions of customers every day through mobile applications and streaming and things like that. We've got hundreds of thousands of partners. Amazon itself has been doing this for over 20 years. One of the interesting statistics that I see is our ops team and our observation team today does 6 quadrillion metrics every month. That's every single second. They just did 2.3 billion transactions. That's just an amazing scale that I can't even comprehend often. And we've got a lot of great customers that are using this cloud ops framework to deliver significant capabilities to their business and their customers, along with the other 3.4 million customers who use CloudWatch every day, for example. So let's talk a little bit about the model. One of the things that's important to remember here, as Peter said in his, we're big on and here at AWS, that you have to be able to do governance, compliance, security automatically and have agility, speed, automation. And that's what Cloud Ops is all about and the things that we're working on and developing here. So if you take a look at the Cloud Ops model and how we deliver it, we think first about how to enable it and set the rules up. And the automations, we often call them guardrails. These are important for governance. We cover hundreds of different compliance regime requirements, and that can all be set up ahead of time. And those are your controls that you have in place. And then you're either migrating or sustaining operations or building new applications, and those have to operate within those guardrails. Then to be able to operate, you manage what you measure, so you have to measure it and operate. And all of that is wrapped in financial management and then built on a layer of security. And that's a really important component, all by default. And if you take a look at the products, and there's a lot of services out there that enable this at AWS, but if you take a look at the products out there that we're more and more pushing our teams and our customers to, is getting things set up in Control Tower. And in Control Tower, you're able to set up your service catalog, you've got marketplace extensions, you've got org and conformance packs and all those things, your backup plans, all those stuff can be set up ahead of time. If you're just one developer and you're out there, it's really easy to create an EC2 instance and an S3 bucket and go out and start developing. But if you're an enterprise with thousands of applications, like some of the customers you hear from, you really have to get this framework in place, and that's what Control Tower is for. When you're building, you've got the ability to build and deploy. You've got our code pipeline components. You've got CloudFormation, and of course our migration products to move things from on-prem or other places into AWS. And then once you've got that in place, you have our observation tools like CloudWatch and other things like that to really be able to control what's there. But System Manager has become sort of this operation hub for everything you need to do, because it pulls together CloudWatch, pulls together everything, and you can act on what you see. And so we want to work on creating this foundation for the move to the cloud. We want to make it really easy to set up the governance. We want you to set up governance in minutes, right? So you don't have to go through and do that. Like conformance packs, you can just say, I want this org to be GDPR and HIPAA, whatever it happens to be. And then automatically, those are applied to every account in that org. And then when the auditor comes up for HIPAA, you just click a button and generate an audit artifact for the HIPAA person. I used to have like 80 people that would do that full time when I was a CIO, and now it's a click of a button. And so you want those guardrails in place, both the financial guardrails and the compliance guardrails, and you want to enable that governance out there. And in addition to those things we've been doing already in Control Tower and with conformance packs and things like that, our customers have asked us to simplify data residency requirements, because in some areas we have that. Now, remember, as Adam said in his presentation, your data is your data. It's encrypted away from any operations. You have complete control of your data, and your data stays where you put it. But a lot of customers have said, well, I know that's true for AWS, but what about my employees? What if they put it other places? So they've asked us to create and extend and make these capabilities to limit geographic location of data, reduce the complexity of proving that it stays geographically, and save time in setting that up. So we've added to Control Tower a data residency capability system, which puts guardrails in place to control data residency and where data sits and where your data can move. But this is the kind of stuff I love to hear from customers, where they say, wow, when I used to do this before on-prem and I did all this myself, it used to take me weeks and weeks and weeks to set all this up. Now with Control Tower, University of California, Irvine says, wow, I can just set it up in a few minutes and really get all those guardrails in place. And then I'm sure that everything that my developers do fall within my compliance regimes. And of course, we've got a lot of people doing development on us as well, and they want to be able to quickly go through and do implementation. They also want to use the tools they're familiar with, so we've got partner integrations with all of these components as well, so they don't have to buy new tools. They can either use the native AWS tools or tools they already own and tools they're already invested in, and provide that agility. And we sort of look at two different tracks with our customers. We've got customers that are going through, the assess what they're going to migrate, do the migration and port it into AWS, or customers that are building, authoring code, having the artifacts in place, doing their test build and their A/B testing and all those other kinds of things, and deploying and then monitoring and operating it. And of course, our goal in all of this is to make it so it's really easy to ensure applications, have resilience there. Because that's another thing our customers have said. Well, we have business continuity requirements. We can't afford to duplicate things when we don't have to. We want to leverage containers. And we want to test and prove resiliency. So AWS, can you help me prove that my application is resilient? And so we have added the Resilience Hub, so you can go out there and see how resilient your application is. And you can define applications in lots of different ways. My favorite way is, of course, App Registry that we launched last year. But you can also define it as a series of CloudFormation templates or a series of resources with application tags on it. But it's really easy to use and set up, and to let you know, you can set up your RTO and your RPO, and it will say, hey, you're not backing up enough, or you need to be multi-AZ, you want to replicate between these different areas. It'll give you all the different types of best practices to meet your requirements for resiliency. So it's a really nice tool. You should take a look at that. Of course, as you go through and you start operating and optimizing at scale, What our customers have also asked for is they say, well, we love System Manager, we love CloudWatch, we love Config, but we want to operate everywhere. We want that consistent interface everywhere. And you'll hear a little bit later how Rackspace uses System Manager everywhere. And we continue to extend that, not just in the cloud, but in hybrid applications. And they also want an application-centric interface. So we delivered the application manager that shows you your application and how it is. And they want it, of course, to be automated as well. And then a lot of our manufacturing customers, this may not apply to every customer, have come to us and said, well, today when I'm running my factory, I've got, snowballs and snow cones in the factory, I've got outposts in the factory, I've got green grass devices in the factory, I've got things running on the cloud, and right now I have to log into lots of different things to be able to patch those things and update those things. So could you just make it easier for me to save time, save money, and see my end-to-end controlled environment, end-to-end managed environment, end-to-end performance environment? So what we've done now is integrate remote management capabilities that you already have in System Manager into our IoT systems. So now if you're a manufacturing customer, you can get one view of the entire status of all your operating systems in your entire plants globally and manage and patch it centrally without moving and having to go into lots of different management tools. So System Manager begins to sort of do it all for you. And of course, a lot of customers using Windows-based systems as well, and they want simplified processes for that, secure configuration, and a lot of automated access control. So we've added a nice graphical user interface with single sign-on so that you can manage your Windows environments much more seamlessly and easily inside System Manager. So what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Josh, and he's going to tell you a little about how Rackspace runs all of this at scale using a lot of our tools. Josh?
Nice. Hey, thank you so much, Bill. What a fantastic week, right? We've seen so many great announcements come out already, and I've got to tell you, gosh, it sure does feel great to be back in person. So, I'm Josh Pruitt. I'm our Chief Product Officer at Rackspace Technology, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how Rackspace, the partner, uses AWS as a customer. So, Rackspace Technology is a leading technology services company. We work with customers across the spectrum who use multiple cloud providers and are at different levels of maturity. As one of the largest and most experienced premier partners of AWS, having worked closely together for over 6 years, we use AWS tools to meet our customers wherever they are and to deliver their business outcomes. As we were building our relationship with AWS, we found that not only are the AWS native tools so capable and durable of being able to run just our AWS customers, but we can actually use them across our entire fleet of customers, regardless of what platform they're running on, or regardless of if they're running VMware or in one of our data centers running on bare metal. So, as a result of the work that we've done for thousands of customers to help them leverage AWS, one of the tools that we've become very familiar with and really, really impressed by is AWS Systems Manager. This allowed us to easily automate patching and upgrades for our AWS customers, but we quickly decided to make it the cornerstone of how we provide automated patching and alert remediation for over 60,000 customers' VMs across all major platforms. As an example, we provide VM monitoring for the vast majority of our customers on every platform. We track all of the standard metrics and alarms that you would expect, like CPU load and storage and memory and response time, et cetera. Now, leveraging AWS Systems Manager, we created a solution that we call Smart Tickets. This intercepts a monitoring alert triggered by any of our monitoring systems on any of the platforms that we support, and it automatically triages the incident, recording critical information and log output from the impacted system. And this runs over 20,000 times per month and allows our support organizations to have all of the relevant details to begin troubleshooting quickly. But it gets even better than that. Because AWS Systems Manager is so powerful and can be used across any platform, we extended our Smart Tickets tooling to recognize 150 of the most common alert types, and using AWS Systems Manager and Lambda and step functions, we actually automate the resolution. And this allows us to solve over 70% of customer monitoring alerts in a matter of seconds without the need for human intervention. By partnering with AWS and using the machines to automate the mundane, we are able to deliver real business outcomes for clients much more quickly. A great example of this is a gaming company we worked with recently. They needed to modernize their platform to a truly microservices architecture because their monolith application had become difficult to scale and to test and to modify. By leveraging the automation that we've built on top of AWS tooling, we were able to quickly reduce the operational burden of their current environment and then work with them to transform towards using Amazon API Gateway and serverless functions with Lambda and NoSQL databases. This saved them over 1,200 hours per month and improved performance of their application by 400%. When customers need help, they expect Rackspace to step up and act swiftly to solve their problem. And using AWS Systems Manager and their other tools, we can do it much more quickly. And now, it's my pleasure to turn it back over to AWS and the VP of Monitoring, Nandini Ramani.
Thanks, Josh. Hi, everyone. I'm Nandini Ramani, and my team helps our customers with observability both on-prem as well as in the cloud. Observability basically enables you to understand and observe how your applications, services, and infrastructure are performing. We do this by using data such as logs, metrics, and traces to observe the performance and behavior of these systems. In a sense, we use observability to detect, investigate, and remediate any operational issues. Or, as Bill likes to say at AWS, you manage what you measure. At AWS, observability has always helped us drive decisions. In fact, all of Amazon teams instrument their applications and gather an abundance of observability data. We do this because data drives decisions, and real-time data drives real-time decisions. Increasingly, any downtime in either applications or services costs money. And it also prevents you from meeting your SLAs, such as availability, reliability, and latency. We built our flagship service, Amazon CloudWatch, to solve diagnosing problems in our own applications. In fact, all of both AWS and Amazon uses CloudWatch for our own observability needs. Over the years, we have continued to develop new features to help us solve our own observability challenges, and we have turned these into capabilities for our customers. Today, I'm pleased to share some of these new features with all of you. As the cloud continues to evolve, we're seeing a shift from monolithic on-prem applications and workloads to more modern architectures. And these are built on dynamically changing infrastructure. For example, EC2 with auto-scaling, container workloads with EKS, ECS, and Fargate, and even in many cases using IoT. As traffic scales up, so does compute. And this leads to an increase in the volume of operational metrics data that's generated. To make sense of this data, you need the ability to optimize and explore across tens of millions of different metrics. So you've told us you want an effective way to query and visualize all of this data. And most importantly, you've also told us you don't want yet another query language to do this. So today, I'm excited to announce the preview of Metrics Insights in CloudWatch. Metrics Insights is a high-performance query engine that lets you identify trends and patterns across tens of millions of operational metrics, which in turn lets you reduce mean time to resolution and downtime. Metrics Insights uses the widely used and familiar SQL query language, enabling you to compare, aggregate, and group your data using labels so that you can easily gain insights, real-time insights into operational metrics. Metrics Insights is also a native AWS solution, so it's available out of the box, no additional setup required, and no front-end development. Applications and websites are the first point of contact between companies and their end customers. So it's increasingly important to understand the digital experience of your end customers. You have told us one of the most common times when you see application issues is when you deploy and roll out new features and capabilities. This can sometimes lead to unexpected user behavior and/or performance degradation. You've told us you want an easier, faster way to roll out new capabilities. You've told us you want to save time so you don't have to create manual safety mitigations, which can be time-consuming. And you also want to be able to test and analyze this data and new features from this data without needing advanced statistical knowledge. All of these help you gain control and visibility into the digital experience of your end customer. I'm pleased to announce Evidently, which is the new A/B testing platform in Amazon CloudWatch. With Evidently, you can control the launch of application features, and you can do this by starting with a small cohort of users and then dialing up to a larger audience until you're fully complete. Our easy-to-use interface allows you to do this without any need for advanced statistical knowledge. You can simply use the insights that are provided by our statistical engine. As we continue to look into more of your customers' digital experience, you want your applications to be performant, error-free, and fast. Today, many of you use CloudWatch Synthetics, and you can use that to monitor continuously key metrics like availability, latency of your API endpoints. One advantage of CloudWatch Synthetics is you can test and control parts of your application without needing real user traffic. This is particularly effective in times of low traffic. However, frequently you need to augment this synthetic data with real user sessions. And today, many of you build your own homegrown solutions, which can add up to 20% development time per feature that you're rolling out. Today, I'm happy to announce real user monitoring in Amazon CloudWatch. This new feature helps both web and mobile developers optimize end user experience. And also, the dashboards that we have that give you access to data from browsers, devices, from different geos, will inform your developers of any possible front-end issues. You can do this with consolidated views of both client-side performance as well as infrastructure metrics. So you ask for a simplified way so you can see how your real users are performing, as well as you want to integrate it with synthetic data, and you have that with real user monitoring in CloudWatch. Together, all of these launches today provide you with both holistic observability as well as digital experience monitoring. AWS has always collaborated with the open source community, and this is no different in the area of observability. Amazon Managed Service for Prometheus, Amazon Managed Grafana, and AWS Distro for OpenTelemetry were all introduced at last reInvent, and now are all generally available. Amazon Managed Service for Prometheus lets you collect metrics and traces from any container service across AWS, EKS, ECS, Fargate, and you can also use Grafana as a rich interactive visual display. It's based on the open source Grafana project, and it comes with pre-built dashboards. Distro for OpenTelemetry, which is based on the OpenTelemetry project, which is part of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. You can instrument your applications once, and then you can send your metrics and traces to any AWS service, as well as partner monitoring solutions. At Amazon, we always have customers, the voice of the customers, tell our story. And to do so and let you know how observability with AWS impacts their business, I would like to turn your attention to the screen and introduce Javed Trumich, who's head of site reliability at Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs, we run a large distributed infrastructure which produces vast amounts of operational data across multiple engineering teams. It is imperative for us that our monitoring platform scale and be usable by our entire engineering organization to meet our operational and business requirements. We place great value on team collaboration and data correlation. Our observability strategy focuses on open source technologies such as Prometheus, which powers our metrics platform and our internal SLO repository. Where possible, we prefer hosted solutions so we can focus our efforts on our core business. We're excited to leverage AWS observability products like AWS Managed Service for Prometheus. With it, we're able to onboard and migrate services more quickly onto a managed platform that operates at a global scale and reduces our operational overhead. I'm amped about the next phase in observability at Goldman Sachs. As we grow our strong partnership with AWS, we can continue to build out the larger observability ecosystem, benefit our engineers, and ultimately serve our clients better.
Thanks, Javad. So monitoring and observing your applications and services is the first step, and then taking action on what you're seeing is the natural next step. AWS takes you from observation to action in one integrated step. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Back to you, Bill.
Nice job. Hi, everybody. It's really great to see the use of both the open source tools and the native AWS tools together, and expect to see more and more integration between those seamlessly. That'll be a lot of the themes you'll see over the next few years is integrating and simplifying those interfaces. So talk a little bit more about how we improve compliance and security in the cloud. I think one of the cool things, again, as you set things up and you set those guardrails in place, you get to leverage the security best practices right out of the box, and you can apply it at the organizational level, you can apply it at the account level and things like that. And we have a tremendous number of customers that rely on this to meet all their compliance requirements. Things like conformance packs and other things like that enable them to just go through and say, here's the compliance. And I just love, as I mentioned before, being able to click a button and hand an audit report to an auditor, because I used to spend so much time doing that in former lives. All of our compliance and audit tools are CIS recommended. We're continuing to make them more and more automated. So things like conformance packs or JSON templates that you can cut and paste and edit and then reapply as well, and more centralized. And we have this goal also to make it easier to take a look at and manage audit data. So another beautiful thing about the cloud that I never had when I was on-prem back in the day is CloudTrail. So CloudTrail is an immutable continuous log, so it's hashed continuous so that you know it's not changed, it's proven continuous, and it gives you a track of every API call and every action that occurs in the cloud. And so we have a lot of customers that will move that data into a lot of different tools and do analytics on it. And so our goal, customers came to us and said, can you just simplify all of this CloudTrail data for me and make it much easier for me to manage so I don't have to necessarily use other tools if I don't want to. So what we've done is we've pulled together the ability to offer you, real-time query and to really control the schemas and the support out there. And so we were launching the Managed Data Lake for CloudTrail. And you can fully manage your data for 7 years. You can scroll to other places if you need to keep longer than that. You've got a nice SQL-based query language. And of course, it supports individual and multi-account capability. So this lets you really do a deep dive into your requirements for compliance in your CloudTrail data. Something that we're pretty excited about for our customers. And of course, you want to be able to take action based on that. And when we take a look at this operational model that we've got here, again, a lot of what Nandini was talking about, where you take a look at, how are you going to react? How are you going to be proactive? You're taking a look at our partner solutions that we integrate in very simply. We're very partner friendly and being able to move the data around, incident logs, all of that kind of stuff, and then being able to optimize it. And that's what these tools that we've pulled together here for you. And of course, as you kind of combine all these services, you get this capability of a central operational hub built around things like System Manager, where you get continuous visibility through the observation tools integrated with that. You have all this automated runbooks that you can put in place, and a TSM-based Cloud allows you to observe, understand, take action, and automate. And all of our customers are starting to run at this kind of cloud scale, where you see these kinds of volumes of data kind of across the board. So what I would really like to do is bring Robert up to talk about Expedia and how they do it using these tools. So Robert, over to you.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me here. It's great to see so many people in person this year at re:Invent. You heard Bill talk a little bit about people, process, and technology. And I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about something that we don't often spend a lot of time talking about, and that's the people. At Expedia Group, our mission is to power global travel for everyone, everywhere. And over the last 2 years, we've been on a tremendous journey, simplifying our technology stack and providing a platform that enables our internal developers and external partners to ship ideas to production as quickly as possible. Expedia Group has 5,000 developers and over 200 travel sites in over 70 countries. And as you can imagine, that means a lot of shipping software and a lot of operations. And we keep our global travel partners delighted. In 2019, we found ourselves at the tail end of a DevOps culture transformation. Open source adoption and cloud migrations were running an all-you-can-eat buffet on tools, and our tech teams were operating independently. Looking across the DevOps toolchain, we had 3 to 4 competing tools in every capability, and hundreds of permutations of pipelines. Our developers talked of weeks to onboard and the pain of jumping around between tools. One of our core principles at Expedia Group is forcing simplicity. And we made that our rallying cry on the technology stack. We set ourselves the goal of getting down to one tool for one job, moving from a multi-stack, multi-domain enterprise onto one platform that can service all of our brands and be externalized to power our business partners and build a platform that powers global travel. Our simplification journey was critical to achieving our key business outcomes: building the travel platform for the world, reducing friction for our developers, and reducing the time from an idea to production to as close to zero as possible, and landing our applications in a runtime environment where efficiency, quality, resiliency, and cost optimization were provided by default for our developers. Fast forward to 2021, we still have a ton of work to do. But since starting our journey, we've aligned on our go-forward technology stack. We've aligned on our roadmap, and we have a consistent architectural principles driving our decisions. Our common developer toolkit has enabled us to retire 149 tools, free up over 100 developers worth of effort, and save roughly 20% on our license costs. We're moving pretty fast, but how do we do it? How do we ensure that our enterprise change has the same safety as our deployment process? And how can you do the same? The answer is the people, the allies you build, and how you approach your transformation. I've been running these transformations for a number of years, and when you lead a large-scale change, you have a choice. You can lead by mandates, or you can create a movement. You can be political, or you can be persuasive. For us to move fast at Expedia Group, we had to build a movement and bring people along for the journey. By inspiring change and winning people over, we're moving faster, and partnering with AWS is a tremendous accelerator for us. The playbook for change is the same. It doesn't matter if you're a large company or a small company, if you're running a 10-person team or a 10,000-person team. You form your team, you pick your tools, you find your allies, you win over your detractors, and you execute like crazy. Where most people focus is on these two areas, picking tools and executing. This is natural for us as engineering leaders. We like to solve problems, so we like to get stuck in and pick our tools. And you'll get pretty far if you're lucky with this approach. But where the most successful transformations happen is by focusing on these three areas, forming the team, finding your allies, and winning over detractors. If you want broad buy-in and you want to move at an incredible pace, here is where you focus. These areas are where you build trust. Trust in your partners, trust in yourself, trust in your people, trust in your decisions, and trust in your team. Partnering with AWS, we've been able to accelerate the formation of that trust. We formed a team of experts from an established community within the company. We picked tools with confidence that they would work together and that our other choices would work with AWS. We went over our internal detractors with case studies, data, playbooks, and easy access to services that would enable us to prove out our concepts. We built allies in the developer community by picking tools that were popular and supported by a groundswell of investment. And we removed churn and toil from the developer journey by leveraging managed services like EKS and Elasticsearch Service, and now we manage Prometheus. And that trust has allowed us to go get what's next. Leveraging AWS services has given us the confidence to move with speed and safety in one of the largest container migration projects, landing over 10,000 applications owned by 500 teams in 600 clusters, where speed, safety, quality, and resilience is the default. And through partnering with AWS, we're able to focus on reducing the time from imagination to delivery to as close to zero as possible, and build a platform that powers global travel for everyone, everywhere. Thank you very much for having me. Bill, over to you.
Thanks, that was great. I'm a big Expedia user, so it's fantastic to see how that's evolving. What a great job that they're doing running on AWS and scaling out. So again, kind of going back to this core model of being able to enable and put governance in place and guardrails in place, be able to migrate, sustain, and operate the entire infrastructure, and again, to re-emphasize on any device, anywhere is where we're going, or any cloud or any environment, hybrid or whatever, being able to operate consistently across those and have the financial management place and the automation and security there for you. So one of the things that a lot of our customers are asking us to do is not only do I want to be able to have you manage my capacity and resiliency and all those kinds of things, I really want to predict and manage and optimize my costs. So what's the best way for me to optimize my costs on AWS? And of course, as you saw with the Glacier fast retrieval, we're continuing to always push prices down, or you saw with the latest Graviton processors continuing to get better price performance. But you want to be able to manage that, take advantage of those, but also manage that within your envelope and the choices you have. So you want to be able to pull together and forecast what your bills are going to be like. You want to be able to put controls in place and guardrails on that in place. You want to be able to do traceability so you know what's causing the changes in your bill, and you want to do general oversight over your entire infrastructure and what your costs are in place. So we have this full cloud management financial portfolio that makes this able for you to plan and evaluate what your applications are going to consume, make you take a good look at managing and controlling it, and optimizing and reporting it, and then defining your savings. But it's really about people, process, and technology. It isn't just technology. We have a lot of technology tools here. There's a lot of great discussions going on about how we do DevOps. It is a very rigorous process at AWS. We do strong controls and regular cadence at AWS from a skill perspective. So we have a weekly operations review. Every team has dashboards. If we have some kind of error, we do a correction of error, which is a very formalized process where we go through and define exactly what went wrong and make sure it's specifically called correction error so it won't happen again. And we have action plans that we follow through and make sure those get delivered. And then we also have regular business metrics. And then on Fridays, we have a regular security meeting where we go through and look at our status of security. And that actually happens with the CEO. So the CEO gets level visibility. We have that with Adam along with our CISO, which is great at that. And so there's a lot about cloud skills to do it for people. And I think that that's really important along with the processes. And so we have a series of managed services that enable that as well. So you can use, if you don't want to run your operations, you can use Amazon Managed Services to do a good amount of the operations for you. We have a series of partners like Rackspace and others that can help on operations. We have a great marketplace with hundreds of thousands of partners. And you saw a lot in Doug's presentation about what's available on Marketplace. And we work very hard in our observation systems, for example, to make it really easy for those partners to ingest that data and get very quick response time. And then to continue to improve your skills, we've got training and certification working with AWS experts explicitly for this. And we have also this cloud adoption framework where it puts together a best practice frameworks for you to use in your environment, setting up your cloud environment. So I want you to check out, there's a whole bunch of other operation tracks you can do here at AWS to get a lot more here while you're at reInvent, a lot more detail about what's going on. You've got a lot of panels about it, a lot more deeper dive into provisioning and Control Tower. I really do advocate Control Tower. It's a great way for any large enterprise to get started, how to get the health and application insights and performance insights with CloudWatch. Compliance, as I mentioned, is incredibly important. Conformance packs, auditing, getting those guardrails in place. There's a great session on that. And how to centralize your operations to improve resiliency and availability. And then, of course, a whole session on improving costs. If you haven't sat with your account manager and looked at how to improve costs, you should be doing that, and they should be proactively doing that with you. And of course, how to manage at scale. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Actually, a little bit early today. If you have any questions or concerns, we could be around outside the theater. Thank you all. Have a great reInvent.